Let me paint a picture and let's see if it sounds anything like you. Back in high school, you were always listening to music. It didn't matter if you were on the bus thinking about your crush, getting all pumped up on the way to Saturday sport, or even in the back of maths class with a headphone in your right ear and your head like tilted towards the back so the teacher couldn't see the headphone. There was always something you were dying to listen to. On the day that you forgot your headphones on the way to school, that sucked. Now it's been a fair few years since you were in school and you don't know if music's just gotten shit or if something's happened to you. But you just don't listen to as much music as you used to. And since you'd never had to put any effort in back in the day to like music, if you don't like it now, then you just don't like it and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, whether or not that sounds like you, I've got a confession to make. I'm the music guy. I make music, I talk about music, but that's kind of happening to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love making it. I still occasionally find amazing music that I just cannot get enough of. And I still probably love music way more than the average person. But the love just isn't as far as it was back in high school. So after so many years of watching my Spotify listening numbers go down and waiting for some bolt of lightning to hit me, I've decided to take some action. If music means as much to me as I claim it does, I'm not just gonna sit here and let the love for it peter out. I'm gonna fight for it. My theory is that I've exhausted one angle of thinking about and listening to music. So what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm gonna attack it from 3 separate angles. I'm gonna look to science to find out why we lose love for music as we get older. I'm gonna go to some live music because despite what I may have grown to think, music isn't just shuffle mode in my AirPods. But before doing either of those things, I'm gonna try and understand music the way my parents did. For that, we're gonna have to go for a drive. So as you can probably tell, this video isn't gonna be just me kind of spouting my opinion, although I do love spouting my opinion. It's gonna be me genuinely searching for answers, and I'm just kind of bringing you along for it. What I wanna do here is kind of explore the different ways that people enjoy music and enjoy finding music, and see and hope that one or two of those ways could be a new path that really excites me and reignites that fire. So, where are we going? We are going to a record store. I've actually never bought a record from a record store before. I'm kind of interested to see what it's like to actually just go to a record store and see what happens. This is kind of exciting, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, so let's get in there. I think I'll just get these. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
Wahoo! So, basically what happened is they don't have a listening station, and if I wanted to actually listen to them, I had to wait for some other guy to rock up. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just buy them and listen to them at home and see if we like them. Because I bought 3 vinyls. I did not expect to buy 3. I bought 2 of them because I like the people, the musicians, Bill Evans and Charlie Parker, obviously jazz legends. And then I bought 1 of them just because it looked pretty. So it could sound like shit. Before we go home and listen to them, though, I have one more stop. Let's get it. Are you kidding, bro? Oh, I can't justify that. Fuck. Well, now you know what I was looking for. This is pretty epic, though. That needs to be purchased at some point. I have a new idea. I think what we'll do is we'll head to another JB Hi-Fi, another store, and we'll see if they have it for cheaper. And hopefully. All right. Oh well, no luck with the Mac album. Reviewing the experience of just going into a record store and just seeing what they got, that was really fun. I could definitely see myself doing that again for sure. Actually, depends if they sound good or not, because if they sound absolutely terrible, then maybe that's not the way to do it, but that was fun. way worse. That's truly lo-fi. That one was so lo-fi. I can imagine doing something with that, like sampling that even. I'm sure some of you guys are like actual vinyl listeners. If you know how to do any of this stuff better, if you could basically, if you could tell me what I'm doing wrong, I would really appreciate it. That's a double LP. Oh wait, no, it's not. Butterscotch Rum by Gary McFarland.
Open the soft brown cover, looking at the image of my father's father. All your better days, they come and go. All my better.
This record player as well, I didn't buy, if you can't tell. It's quite old, and it was actually, it's been lent to me by a good friend of mine. He's got two of them, and they're actually like really, really good record players. So it's just so incredible that he's lent it to me as well. So every time I use it, and now using it with these, it feels quite special. The whole experience feels quite real, if you know what I mean. And that looks so good as well. Damn, I'm just admiring it. Out of these, I definitely reckon so far this one's my favorite. I really enjoyed this whole experience. I can't get this smile off my face. Maybe I'm just like a recordings guy or something. There's something amazing about having like these pieces of art that people made like decades ago, like physically holding it and then having this sick artwork up on the wall. Oh, I don't know. But honestly, before I completely finish up with the vinyls, I gotta listen to Barry Can't Swim. Look at that. I made a couple notes of why I think I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it, and I think that's because I naturally love exploring stuff and like the spontaneity, and sometimes I guess maybe my music habits have gotten so like old. I do the exact same thing every time, that the exploration and the spontaneity of it was kind of fun. This is my theory that I've just kind of thought of just now. The whole act of unpacking a vinyl from a sleeve, putting it on the record player, wiping it down, putting the stylus down, lowering it, starting it, all that kind of like gets you involved with the music in a way which means that when you're listening to it, it's more of like an active listening experience rather than just like passively putting like, you click play on Spotify and they'll play you whatever. You haven't really done anything. Like, I'm not shitting on that by any means. And not just that, but listening to like full albums in the order that the artist intended it. Like an old experience that our parents had, but one which I haven't really ever delved into. Which is why actually a couple months ago, I did this thing where in the morning I would listen to one full new album every day. That was kind of to combat this, the losing a little bit of love for music and my old music habits. It was a completely new experience in terms of like actively listening. It made me realize how rare it was for me to like actively listen to music. And I'm not to say that that's bad or anything, but it was just so new and it felt weird that it was new. Now, after doing that, what I'm gonna do is do one of those and listen to a full album in my headphones on Spotify and see if it is good or if it's shit. Because I've had a lot of whack ones. So let's try that out now. I went into best albums of 2023 and I found this Australian producer, I'm Australian and I'm a producer. It could be great, could be terrible, but I'm here for it. And I am committing to listening to all of it, even if I hate it. So let's go. What did I think? It was okay. I didn't love it personally. The thing about like active listening, I find, is that like when I'm like listening to something and I've listened to a few songs from the same artist in the same album or EP, I kind of get into their vibe and understand what their like world is like, which means that I like the songs more, which is a good thing. But it's harder to discern whether or not I actually like the songs or if I'm just there with them in the world and understand it more. Whereas when you're like passively listening, if something catches your ear, you know you like it. Maybe. And it's also easy to not be able to find the time to like actively sit down and listen to full stuff. So maybe it's just finding the right balance between active and passive, and not trying to be active all the time. Interesting. Nice. All right. Today, instead of just running around and having fun, I want to look to science and see what science has to offer. Going into this, I have a few theories myself, which I'll tell you about. First is the memory bump. So that's the theory that people can recall more memories from their adolescence and their early 20s, that period of their life. And there are several reasons for it, but I think that phenomenon might contribute to why we listen to less music as we get older. And the second is like identity formation theory. So like in your teens and early 20s, you're still kind of forming your identity. So you latch onto things like music, which can give you like purpose. And that's why it's so compelling at those times. I'm actually quite intrigued to see if there's any studies on this. Okay, I found something. That was pretty quick. It uses a cross-sectional study with 250,000 people. I would love to get access to the full thing. Let's see if we can. Come on. Yes! I think I'm in. Let's go, look. I'm on like the uni database. We found it. Oh, that's actually interesting. Physical attractiveness. Oh, it's fucking funny. What the hell? Openness just means that you're just higher, it would appear. Okay. This was really interesting. I think I've got some really cool findings. I'm quite excited, which means that I'm about to bore you to death. So to save you from that, I'm gonna give you the simple explanation of the study, but take it as just that, a really simple explanation from a guy who's kind of uninformed on the topic. It's not a substitute for reading the paper yourself. I think I've interpreted this correctly, but I might have got some things wrong. So take it with a massive grain of salt. Basically, across 2 studies, they got heaps of different people of different age groups all together and asked them heaps of different questions to figure out how much they listen to music, how important they deem it to be, where they listen to that music, what genres of music they listen to, and then they did a personality test to figure out what sort of people they were. The first study found that older people listened to less music, deemed it to be less important, and listened in a lot less context than younger people. And the second study looked at what genres of music people listen to at different age groups, and they came up with these graphs. One technical thing that's really important to note here is this is a cross-sectional study. Each dot represents the average score of a different group of people. That's important because it means it's not necessarily showing the trend of someone's life over time and how they develop as they age, but more what people of different ages are kind of like. I'm not certain as to whether they did an explicit statistical analysis of this, but to me it looks like the reason that people generally listen to less music as they age is because they generally listen to less intense music and less contemporary music. So this is the theory that they propose in the paper for why people listen to less music as they get older. It's identity theory, so it's what I was saying before, that like we are solidifying our identities early on, so we listen to, and we've got more energy early on, so we listen to more like intense music and more contemporary music to like fit in with a group or whatever. And then later on, as our identities become more formed in the context of whatever our roles are that we play in our lives, so it could be our job, it could be our relationship, etc., we start listening to different music which correlates more with that. So based on that and the personality data that they recorded, here are my theories for how we could combat it. I think we can either A, lean into the genres of music and the types of music that we like as we get older. Or B, we can try and suppress the natural declines in liking intense and contemporary music. The first one sounds kind of boring, bro. Like, it says that people generally like sophisticated music like jazz and stuff later on in their lives because they're more interested in the aesthetic qualities, which I don't think is as, like, in my experience at least, I've not found that the music that I love the most is because it's so complex. It's because it had some deep tie to me. Maybe that's just the identity thing coming in, who knows? And then the family values of unpretentious music or like positivity or whatever. That kind of sounds like we get boring as we get older. I don't know, this could be wrong, but I think what I want to do is lean into the second one. So if we're trying to decrease the decline in, wow, that's a tongue twister, say that 5 times. Decrease the decline in liking intense music and contemporary music. What they found with personalities is that with intense music, people who are more open to experience, so people who are like higher on personality traits of like creativity and exploration and all that, they have generally a higher level of enjoyment of intense music anyway. In the same way, with contemporary music, people who are more extroverted like it more over their lifetimes as well. Side note, people who are more extroverted like unpretentious music more as well, and people who are more open like mellow music more as well. So it's a win-win. So basically, what I'm hearing here is that we want to try and be more extroverted and open as we get older. I didn't explicitly say it there, but the reason I think that this theory works with this data is because it's cross-sectional. The people on this line are classified as people high on openness, and the people on this line are classified as people low on openness. That means that someone who's high on openness at age 40 has a score of liking intense music this much, but that doesn't necessarily mean that when they were 20, they liked intense music this much, and so they've decreased. Since these are all averages of different people, they could have been the person down here who was low on openness at 20, but just increased their openness to now become someone classified as high on openness, which has allowed them to retain or even increase their love for intense music. So I looked into other studies, into a meta-analysis, I'll put it up on screen I think, but it basically said that there's conflicting evidence for like whether or not we naturally get higher or lower on extroversion and openness as we go older. What that's screaming at me is that it's up to us. We can either decide to let our lives and like whatever roles or responsibilities pile onto us, make us boring and sit at home and closed-minded to new types of music and new experiences, or we can choose to go and explore different genres and go and explore listening to music with other people. Because this also relates back to the first study that they were saying that older people listen to music in fewer contexts, so just at home, which probably ties into this decrease in liking music. It is just one study, and I'm sure there are conflicting findings all over the place. And yeah, we're all different people, so we're never gonna find a straight answer in science anyway. But overall, banger study, cool findings, and I think I've got some takeaways from that. On that note, I think it's time we get the fuck out of this room and go and listen to some real people make some real music with other real people.
It will now stop at...
The train's fucking delayed, but she'll be right. I've mellowed out a bit since the science segment. I was kind of thinking about like how generalizable some of the science stuff is, and it's really not. Like, I extrapolated those findings quite a bit because I had to, because the nature of science is that you control for so many variables, which means you can test shit. It's a good starting point, but I really need to test it out in my own life and like see what works for me and experience stuff. And that kind of, I feel like, should be able to cut through the bullshit. I think I basically just want to turn off my brain now and just kind of experience some music rather than thinking about it so hard.
Is this a shot?
I wouldn't have bought that if I didn't really want it, because it was $13.
Well, we're just essentially, me and Dom like to play music together. So we're going to play some music together for you tonight with this wonderful quartet.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. A lot of the shots that you will have seen just then will have been from like the first few songs in the first half, because I decided kind of like halfway through that I didn't want to just be on my phone the whole time. There's such great energy in the room because everyone's like focused on the music. It's not like some pub where it's kind of in the background. The drummer was like the standout for me. I didn't expect that because it was supposed to be a quartet from the pianist and the guitarist, but the drummer was just insane. If we're summing up this video, have I found an answer to the question of how to fall in love with music again? I'll say yes, but not in the way that I expected. I think when I started this video, I was kind of hoping for some quick fix for me to find some aspect of music that I hadn't explored before, and for that to kind of reignite the fire in me and then everything to be good. But no, I think what I've realized in this video is it's going to be a lot more of a long-term game, a lot more of a full lifestyle change to get me back to where I was. And that's not a bad thing, because I feel like if it was some quick fix and I suddenly felt all different, it wouldn't be very sustainable. I think one of the reasons I connected so much with a lot of music back in high school and so deeply was not just the identity piece, but also the fact that I was in and around so many people and the music was actually connecting to my real life in meaningful ways continually. So every song wasn't just its own sound, it was its sound tied to whatever I was doing and the people I was meeting and whatever I was doing. After high school, especially when COVID hit, and uni, and then everyone starts getting full-time jobs and you don't see as many people and your lifestyle becomes a lot more isolated. There's a kookaburra. Sup, dude? You better not swoop me. I had a fucking cooker swoop me when I went on holiday a few weeks ago. Fuck it, alright, I'll just continue, and if he swoops me, he swoops me. I also think the fact that music has become such a part of my life in terms of what I do every day, and that I'm playing music and making music, it might have become more of an intellectual thing than I initially realized. According to the Cambridge study, that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. That could lead to a newfound love for the cooker just swooped. A newfound love for more complex music like jazz and stuff, which I think it might have been doing. But look at me again, I'm intellectualizing this so hard. Moral of the story is I think for me, it's gonna be a big lifestyle change thing where I reincorporate music with my lifestyle and with my social life particularly. I really kind of love the vinyl experience and the live music experience and stuff, but those things aren't things which I will do every day. And I think the things that I do every day are going to be what govern the way I feel about music. So yes, I know that sounds very vague, but to me, I know what that means for my life and my plans going forward. For someone who makes music and talks about music so often, this topic has felt like a bit of a difficult thing to bring up. So it feels really good to get it out in the open, because I don't think it's something that should be stigmatized at all, because we all change and grow as humans. The more we kind of try and push ourselves into some box of someone who we used to be, the more pain we're all going to experience anyway. And just to say it explicitly, because I feel like I need to, I do still fucking love music more than most things in this world. My relationship with it might change and grow over the years, but I don't think that I'll ever fall out of love with it. This video was just some relationship maintenance. We don't complain that we have to put in work for the relationships with the people around us, so why should we complain that we have to put in work for the other things that we love? But now I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to know what music actually means to you, and if you feel like you've been listening to less music recently, I would love to hear why you think that is, and maybe some reflection as to like how you think you could change that. Because this is such an individual topic and no one's going to be able to give you the answer for yourself. Just exploration, really. If you liked this video and you seem to be finding yourself on my channel pretty often, or if you think that I would just be a wacky unit to have in your inbox, I've got a mailing list and I'll put it somewhere on the screen. But other than that, I think that's enough talking for me this week, and I'll catch you next week. Also, preference for contemporary music, pop, rap and dance are positively associated with sociability, status orientation, and physical attractiveness. There are real studies that show that people who like pop, rap and dance are just hotter. I like pop, rap and dance.